With Wealth for Life, there is a little bit of personal care.
We didn't go through the investing, and I don't think we would be where we are today.
I would never go to a bank directly again.
Let's do it together.
They're giving me more confidence.
We feel totally secure now.
It was just easy.
There's a capability there that we didn't even know we had.
Stressful wise, Anthony's always there.
After the first meeting, those fears were gone.
They make us comfortable before we made the next step to invest.
Who wants to work until they're 80? Seriously.
We actually have seen the benefits.
It's like nothing's changed, but we're getting wealthier every day.
They've laid out the plan out for the next 20 years and
looks great.
And I know exactly where I'm going.
They really are the real deal.
We feel included.
I'm able to retire at a very younger age.
We're in the process of building our dream home after 18 years being stuck in the one home.
Financial independence for us and for our children.
Build something for our son, Rocco.
And set up our kids' futures as well.
Set themselves up for life.
They were amazing.
So certainly will make a big difference to you.
They changed their lives.
Go to Wealth for Life. Full stop.
Hey guys, Anthony Peluso here, founder and CEO of Wealth for Life, coming at you again this Wednesday evening, somewhere in Melbourne in the, first Wednesday of June, right guys? Wow, what an interesting 2020 it's been. I never get sick of saying that, and I tell you what a 2020 it's been. Let's hope and pray that the second half of 2020 is much, much better than the first half of 2020. So tonight, again, I'm going to take the questions and the feedback that you viewers out there have asked, okay? But I'm also going to handle some of the headlines out in the media, because contrary to what you may have been brought up to believe, not everything in the media is truth, is as is, right? So tread very cautiously when taking any information on board from the media. My suggestion is that you look much, much further than the headlines on the 6 o'clock news. So, what is the media saying? Rents are falling, mortgages deferrals are growing, housing market predicted to suffer greatly as a result of COVID-19. Now, I know you guys have been hearing that for quite some time, but I'm going to give you some facts here. I'm going to take away the clickbait headline. I'm going to take away the opinions, and I'm going to give you guys some facts, okay? Number one, rents are falling, okay? In addition to myself, okay, I've got a substantial property portfolio, and I can tell you right now I've got property across most parts of Victoria and New South Wales, and I've had no issues with rents, okay? Maybe it's because I chose the right properties to invest in from the start. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's because I've got a great property manager, okay, or property managers. But if you've got all those things, what happens as a landlord if you can't find a tenant to rent your property, okay? Because let's face it, there have been, people that have been laid off as a result of COVID-19, and it's hard to actually afford rent when you have no income. So what are some of the things that you do, okay, as a landlord who is looking for a tenant in the current market? Number one, reduce your rent. Guys, you can hold off on trying to get market rent or maximum rent, and that's going to hurt your cash flow long term. Or you can reduce your rent. We're in unprecedented times right now, okay? We haven't experienced times like this for quite some time. So you're going to have to do what you need to do to get cash flow coming in, okay? So you, as a business owner, as an investor, as an employer, as an employee, you have to change your operating basis, okay? Because if you're going to operate the way you were operating before COVID-19, you're going to get hurt, okay, in every area of life. So reduce your rent. Number two, negotiate a reduced rent now and defer a portion later on down the track, okay? So I noticed that some of our clients are in a situation like that with some tenants where they'll take a little bit less up front but get the balance at the back end, have an agreement drawn out. The key thing is that you need to get into communication. As a landlord, you need to get into communication with your tenant and vice versa. don't be so headstrong as a landlord and just say, "No, this is the rent that I want, and that's what I'm going to ask for, and that's what I want to get." For one, because of the embargo or whatever it is they're calling it right now, you can't actually get rid of your tenant anyway, at least until September, October. And think twice too, guys, if you actually even want to do that, right? Another way that you can actually attract tenants in the current market, offer 1 month's free rent. As an investor, as a landlord, you should be catering to 2 to 4 weeks vacancy period anyway, right? So offer up a month of free rent, right? You will get more people attracted to your ad. Give them 1 month free rent. And if you can, collect it at the back end or just do something good for the tenant, okay? If you're in a position where you can sustain the hit in cash flow for a month, look after your tenant. Funny thing about the universe, right? What you do to one comes back to you, okay? You look after your tenant, I promise you, if you've got the right people in your space, in your business, they'll look after you, on the other side. So as a landlord, make sure you got landlord's protection insurance. Now, if you don't have that right now, you may find it challenging, extremely challenging to get landlord's protection insurance, okay? You think about it, insurance companies right now are running for cover. Nobody wants to insure you because of, the increase in potential defaults, okay, with rent. But make sure you've got landlord's protection insurance because it won't necessarily help you in attracting a tenant, but it can take care of you if your tenant can't pay or won't pay during that period during their lease period, okay? And also start to get a little bit creative with your offers. I'm seeing people offering Netflix subscriptions. What is that? $10 or something? I don't know. What's Netflix a month? $10, $12 a month, right? If you care. $12 Netflix, may not mean a lot to you. It could be the difference between getting a tenant and not getting a tenant, right? Offer a Foxtel subscription, right, for a small period of time, right? Look at ways to get your tenants in there, because I can tell you one thing: reduced rent, reduced cash flow is better than no cash flow. Okay, you can have 50% of something, or you can have 100% of nothing. You decide. I know which one I'd be taking. All right. So, what else am I hearing in the market and questions that I'm getting? I think I got a few questions during the week. What do you do if a tenant? What do you do as a tenant if you lose your job? Okay. So if you lose your job, that's a tough one. Okay. One of the things I would look at doing is getting back into with mum and dad. Not everybody's ideal scene, I get that, but if you no longer have income and you need to pay the rent, either look at getting back in with mum and dad if you can, or housing with some friends, okay? Get together with a group of friends and, work with them. Sorry, guys, work with them with regards to the situation you're going through. Keep in mind, guys, all of this, unemployment, loss of rent, loss of job, this stuff's temporary, okay? Don't look at this as like the end of the world and something that's forever. This is temporary, okay? So buy yourself some time. I've said it so many times, man. The most important asset you have is time, okay? Learn to use time to your advantage, because there will come a time, pardon the pun, where time works against you, okay? As you're getting older in life, time in all areas starts to work against you. So use time to your advantage. Share with a friend or a family member, right? Move back home. Work with the landlord. I'm hearing and seeing situations where, there's people that can't afford to pay the rent because they've lost their job, but they'll work something out with a landlord where instead of paying rent, they'll do some maintenance work, actually get work from the landlord. Is even as simple as picking up the kids and dropping the kids off to school, picking up the kids, and do for the landlord what he pays other people to do. Okay, there's got to be something that he's paying other people to do. Look at taking that over. Okay, in lieu of him helping you out with regards to rent. Okay, it does work, and people are doing it. Okay, you need to get into communication. Tenants, talk to your landlords. They are nice people, okay? Contrary to what you may have heard. Landlords, talk to your tenants. They are great people, okay? We are human beings living on planet Earth, going through all of this together. Whether you like it or not, there is no escape from the current environment. We're going through all of this together. Work with each other, because this time is going to pass, and much sooner than you think. And then we're all going to get back to, what's the word they're saying, right? Back to normal, or a new normal. We're not going to use the new normal, right? But we'll get back to a place that we once were BC, before COVID-19, right? So just stay in communication with each other, okay? There'll come a time where, situations will change, and tenants will need landlords, and then landlords will need tenants. So really just work with each other and look at ways where someone's adversity can be an opportunity for somebody to provide a solution to someone's problem, okay? Just get in good communication. Property managers are good, but I find that during these negotiations and during times like this, it's probably better if you can, to negotiate directly with the landlord and the tenant, without trying to, cut the property manager's lunch and, making sure that they're taken care of as well. I just find that, you can really get to the heart of what's really going on if you're talking to the person one-on-one. All right. Will JobKeeper end earlier than predicted? Okay. So right now, I believe that JobKeeper is due to end, I think, on the 27th of September this year. It's your 1,500 fortnightly wage subsidy delivered. I think it came on board at the start of March. I personally don't think, and I have some stats to support this, I personally don't think they're going to do away with JobKeeper come September, as people are predicting, okay? The economy, whilst getting back to a place it once was, or, back to, operating pre-COVID-19, I think it will take a little bit longer to recover than what most people are predicting. But what I'm actually quite certain they're going to do is modify JobKeeper to assist certain industries: tourism, retail, hospitality. These are industries that have been probably more affected than others. So they'll remove it for most, but they will support it for some of the other industries that need it to continue a little bit longer, okay? So I don't think they're definitely not going to pull it before September, contrary to what both governments are saying, but I don't think they're going to have it as is right now come post-September. All right? Will the Australian economy ever get out of ICU? Okay. Again, just look out in the streets, guys. Have a look at, get outside your house and have a look at the roads again and highways. I'm finding more and more traffic on the road, which means more and more people are going to work. Let's face it, we spend 8 hours, 9 hours a day working. So you got more and more people now going back into the office, which is a really, really good thing. And we're going to have to do that, okay? Contrary to what you may think, working from home is something, I get it, and I understand the message from the government, and we've got to be socially responsible. I get that, but you're not going to have an economy fully functioning until you get everybody back into the office or back into that team environment. And let's face it, guys, if you've got husband and wife, kids, pets, working from home 5 days a week, you're going to drive yourselves crazy if you haven't done so already, okay? And I mean that in the nicest possible way, but home is home. Right, to turn your home into, it kind of gets crazy. You wake up in the morning, you're kind of working at home, you're waking up at home, working at home, you're having dinner at home, you watch TV, everything's at home, right? You're going to drive yourselves a little bit loco, right? So just where you can, get back into the office, get connected with your team, get connected with your employer, get into that office headspace, dress for it, dress for office, dress for work. And get your mindset thinking business and office and employer, employee, and get that product for your organization that you work for. Keep the home life separate. Give yourself a break from your partner for at least, 7 hours, 8 hours a day. Give yourself a break from your kids. Hey, They want it just as much as you do, all right? So, and, you know, you start to, it creates confidence again back into the marketplace, you know, that consumer sentiment, right? When, you know, where we are to some degree a bunch of followers, okay? Not just in this country, in most countries. You know, what is it? Monkey see, monkey do, right? So if one, you know, you get a majority going back to work, more people start going back to work, and you start to get the economy back to where it needs to get to, okay? Like I said, I think that these stimulus packages, I'll talk about the ones around the real estate market in a second, but these stimulus packages will continue up until September, definitely JobKeeper, and they'll modify it to some degree to target specific industries that need it. You know, I mean, you know, you look at the Airbnb industry, you look at the airline industry, I was in Chadstone Shopping Town the other day. Oh my God. Great thing about it, I've got a car park in. Chadstone's a big shopping town here in Melbourne, for those of you that are watching outside of Melbourne. Crazy. I got in there in record time. You find a car spot in 10 seconds, which is unheard of in Chadstone. And to some degree, it was like a ghost town walking around. And don't ask me why I went shopping at Chadstone, but I think, what was I doing? I think it was my daughter's 13th birthday. But it was just so different to the Chadstone shopping mecca, capital of Victoria, that I'd known in the past, right? So sad to some degree, because you look at a lot of those stores too that were closed, and you know that some of them actually won't be reopening. But things are looking on the up and up. Okay, interest rates today, for those of you that may not be aware, or yesterday I should say, held at the current standard variable rate. Okay, I think the 0.25% is the cash rate right now. Don't see that going up anytime soon for reasons I've given on past webinars that we've done. So, you know, you've got the Morrison government right now really wanting to stimulate the economy, and they're not going to do anything to take away from that, okay? So, now, let's get into some real estate. Okay. Do the banks really consider property to be as safe as it once was? You know, the great Australian dream, you know, the bank's biggest revenue earner, the Aussie home, right? So here's what I'm going to tell you again when you start to look at facts as opposed to just the clickbait headline that puts everybody into fear, right? There are around 10.4, 10.5 million properties around Australia, okay? You can get all this information from calllogic.com.au, by the way, right? 70% of properties are owned by owner-occupiers, okay? So homeowners. Out of those 70%, around 50% of them have actually got the mortgage paid off, so they don't even have a mortgage on them. The other 50% are actually using equity in the home to generate more income from things such as investment properties. So the total value of Australian real estate, those $10.4 million properties, is around $7.4 trillion. Okay, I don't know how many zeros is that, Lee? A lot. 12, correct. Yeah, $7.4 trillion worth of real estate, right? The outstanding amount of loans against that real estate is around 1.83 trillion, 1.83. So if you do the math, you're looking at a loan-to-value ratio of 25%, right? So do banks really consider real estate as safe as it once was? You betcha, okay? The one thing I tell my clients, and the one thing that, you know, you as a viewer should understand is this. When a bank, right, who's a partner, right, your partner when it comes to real estate, okay, unless you're going to cash the whole thing yourself, they become your debt partner. When a partner gives you up to 90%, 95% if you're a homeowner, against the value of that asset, that's the bank telling you that they believe in the decision you're making, and the asset that you're entering into or buying is a good buy. See, banks aren't allowed to have a conversation with you where you can say, hey, dear Mr. Bank Manager, this property that I'm buying in Port Melbourne, is this a good purchase or not? They can't give you that advice. They're not allowed to. So the way they give you that advice is to just show you how much money they will lend you against that asset, right? So commonly, good real estate, a good investment or a good purchase, they'll lend you up to 80% against the value of the asset. If they start to lend you less than 80% against the value of that asset, what they're saying to you is that this asset you're looking at carries a greater degree of risk. So what could be an example of that? Things like serviced apartments, okay? Things like small apartments, less than 50 square meters, okay? Or apartments in large complexes. Areas that are heavily, where there's a lot of investment activity, where there's more investors than owner-occupiers, okay? So they're heavily saturated with investors. You know, banks have a postcode system where they could just look at a particular postcode and learn and tell you real quickly what loan-to-value ratio they're going to lend you, right? So the point I'm trying to make, guys, is feel comfortable in knowing that banks still consider real estate as a safe investment for you and for them. Sure, you still need to go through the lending criteria of having a good household income and making sure expenses are a big thing right now, guys. I'm telling you, if you're going out there and you're buying your own home, right, and you're looking to invest in real estate and you're going through a loan application or you're about to, you need to really pay attention to your expenses, okay? You know, we had a client the other day with a borrowing capacity, I think, of about $1.2 million who couldn't even purchase a $400,000 property. Okay, I won't get into the mechanics behind it, but incomes are really, really important. Household incomes, expenses, so money coming in, expenses, and money going out, super important. Obviously, then have a look at your equity position and, just make sure that you follow that golden rule that more money's coming in, that money's going out, okay? If it's not easy to get a loan these days, okay? Contrary to what you may see out there, it's not easy to get a loan. But if you can get through the criteria, the application process, the money is literally freaking free at the other side, okay? You got banks right now that are modelling under 2% interest rates, okay? I won't tell you who they are just yet, but two particular lenders right now are doing some revenue modelling on what a principal and interest loan looks like with an interest rate of just under 2%. So it tells you where their thinking is, okay? So money's good if you can get it, but you need to be financially responsible leading up to your application, and I would say right now. So start having a look at how you're spending. Have a look at your income. Right now, it's get as much income as you can, minimize your expenses as much as you can, okay? Most people are doing that right now because of the current environment anyway. People are holding on to cash. They're looking at every dollar they spend, and that's the new way moving forward, okay? So banks are certainly still consider real estate as a safe option. Could banks really demand you sell your home if you can't pay the mortgage after September 2020, which is a question we get as well? We are going to run into a situation where when JobKeeper finally does expire, I think 1 in 14 people have adopted to have their mortgage deferred. 1 in 14. So not as crazy as you think. You will have to show up in September and be able to pay back the additional interest as long as the current interest in September on your mortgage. So if you've deferred payment on your mortgage as part of the assistance that the banks are offering you, the banks are going to come knocking for that come October this year, okay? So again, get into a conversation with your lenders, but keep in mind that it ain't going to be a free ride forever, okay? Right now, you have time on your side. Get employed. Get out of the house. Get employed. Get working. It just does so much for you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. Get working. If you're not paying your mortgage off right now, you're deferring your payment. The banks are going to come knocking in October. So make sure that you're using the time to your advantage right now. So where to for the property market moving forward? Okay. Now you would have heard a lot of headlines in the press over the last 7 days or so regarding certain relief packages, okay? I'm not going to comment on them just yet because they haven't been finalised, okay? And the government, as we speak, are actually looking at putting these together, potentially announcing them in the next 48 hours. Needless to say, given the people I've spoken to, if these packages or these relief, what do we call them? I don't even have a name right now, right? The building relief fund, I think it was the renovation assistance. Yeah, helping out the tradies, toying around with stamp duty where they're looking to actually eliminate or minimise stamp duty. That's all designed to get the property market kicking come 1st of July, okay? Now, there'll be some stimulus package that will come out of what the government's doing right now. I personally think it'll be a contribution of somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000 towards any homeowner, being homeowner or first homeowner that's looking to build a new home. Okay, somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000. I don't think it'll be as much as 50 because what you don't want to have is zero responsibility from a purchaser where they don't have to come up with a deposit or stamp duty. Okay, that's just going to end in disaster. Okay, so. But they are going to stimulate the market for homeowners. For those of you wondering whether it's going to be for investors as well, I don't think so. Okay, whilst the government clearly hasn't come out and said that, I don't think. Hey, us investors, we're rich, right? We're wealthy. That's why we invest. So you're not going to get any relief or assistance from the government. Okay, it'll be towards homeowners, but homeowners are the ones that actually drive the market. Keep that in mind. Okay. So with these going through, I think you're going to see a very good late July, August, September moving forward for the property market, okay? Interest rates are not going anywhere. We need to stimulate, if not the biggest, probably the third biggest economy in the country, the construction and property sector. Tradies have actually had a great time over the last 3 months, just so in case you're wondering. They are busier than ever, right? But they need to put stimulus packages and some relief back into that sector. So I think we're going to get a good market moving forward. All indicators are suggesting that. I'd be putting my money, and I'm not a betting guy, but I'd be putting my money on the property market doing very, very well the second half of this year, okay? I've seen nothing to indicate otherwise because you're going to find that, the certain industry sectors are going to still get taken care of with the stimulus packages. It's stimulus this, stimulus that, but guys, we need to get the economy working again. Okay, we need to get back. We need to get back to working again. Open up the economy. Government assistance cannot last forever. Okay, I've been against that from day one with things like Social Security and pension. You guys out there need to take care of yourselves financially, okay? So don't leave it upon anybody else to look after you. Anything you get will be a temporary measure at best, okay? So, guys, listen, that's it. I hope you got a lot out of tonight. Again, thank you so much for your questions and your feedback. We get to talk to so many of you guys. And here we are, approaching the halfway point of 2020, okay? Most people are saying the worst time of their life. Funnily enough, you got others that are saying the greatest time of their life because of the opportunities that they've been able to create, the businesses that they've been able to start during this current environment. You guys decide out there what it is for you. At the end of the day, we want you, at Wealth for Life, we want you to do well financially, okay? Get your money working for you. You can't escape the money game, okay? If you live on planet Earth, you need to understand and you need to handle money. I don't care what you heard growing up about money. Money's not important and, you don't need money to be happy and all that stuff that you heard from your family, your kids, your friends, your school. Money is important. Don't believe me? Try getting through life without it. All right? Hope you're well, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Until next Wednesday, stay safe, stay warm, and enjoy life. See you guys. Hey!
The team environment is just fantastic. We all sort of support each other and back each other.
Great bunch of people here.
We have a lot of fun. I think I'm probably one of the office clowns, to be honest.
Too much?
Also being able to move up. There's lots of room to move if you put the hard work in.
We are literally helping other people to create the financial freedom.
And of course, we want our staff to be able to partake in that and do extremely well financially.
It's good to be a part of a company that's genuinely helping people, and it's a fun place to work.